Hello YouTubers, this is the Noobifier. It's becoming more and more difficult to reply to each and every one of you personally, so I apologize if I miss you. I still read everything, so if you have a question, post it and I'll answer. Twitter and Facebook are always great ways to hit me up also. The Patreon account has received another donation. For your privacy, you know who you are, and I thank you for sharing the cost of these ship giveaways. Welcome to the no bullshit video on my HOTAS bindings. To the mouse and keyboard users, most of this may not directly relate to you, but I still hope you find it interesting. This video is specific to my controller setup, but all joysticks share some functionality, so approach this from a what can I take away from this video. VoiceAttack is a voice command macro. It's a third-party program. It will unload most functions to voice command, so you'll never need to take your eyes off the action. Target selection, countermeasures, shield balance, power management, HUD, view, all of that is bound to VoiceAttack. I'm now dependent on this software. I have no binds tied directly to view because I have TrackIR. Real-time head tracking. The in-game view moves based on where your head is moving. Here's a clip from some Vandal Swarm co-op with the lads and lasses from Tactical Advance. You should be able to hear and see TrackIR and VoiceAttack in action.
Bogey.
Nearest enemy.
Nearest enemy contact.
Bogey.
Zoom in.
Looking in.
Lock.
Send it.
Missile out.
Zoom out.
On the way. Looking
Next
now.
enemy.
Target left.
Fight. Everything in it.
Flare. Online.
Decoy.
Countermeasures
What?
out.
Next enemy.
Nearest enemy contact.
Send it.
Missile out. On the way.
Nearest enemy.
Starboard.
Nearest enemy contact.
Display shields.
Flare.
Shields up.
Online. Flare.
My ship is locked.
Online.
Victory!
My joystick is set to pitch and roll and yaw on the pedals. It replicates an atmospheric flight control. Because I'm used to flight simulators, this makes a lot more sense to me. If you're just starting out, there's a merit in learning it another way. Joystick is pitch and yaw and pedal for roll. In space that would give you a much more natural experience, but I'm hard-coded to what I know and I'll never switch. Just something to think about, as there is another way that's superior. So here are my bindings, integrate the ones that you like into your own. My thumb sits on a 5-way button. I have bound up, down, left, right thrusters to my thumb. Pushing down is boost and double down is afterburner. During space combat, I'm constantly using this button. My left 4-way is set for manual targeting. Take note of reticle targeting. This is an obscure bind that lets you select the object behind your aiming mark. It's super useful. My top hat is my quantum mode selector and push forward to engage. It's a great bind and satisfying to feel like your thumb has so much power making those leaps. I can reset both my shields and power quickly just by rocking this switch left and right. My right 4-way will start and stop recording for shadowplay. I normally don't use decoy macro because it's a voice command that I normally use on VoiceAttack, but this button will ZX, launching both countermeasures. It's set to burst fire, so if you hold this down, it'll dump all your countermeasures as fast as possible. I use Big Red as my look-back camera. If you're in a Super Hornet and you have TrackIR, you can aim the ball turret while looking backwards. The grey side button is my decoupled toggle, otherwise known as Newtonian, paying respects to a very late Sir Isaac Newton. This particular joystick is equipped with a 2-stage trigger. A half pull is fire group 1, and a full pull fires both 1 and 2 at the same time. The Warthog build is second to none and has a very satisfying click. Grey pinky is my push to talk for TeamSpeak, and the main front lever is the Asteroid Eliminator or Space Brake. Pull this lever, kill the throttle, and hit boost at the same time, and it will actually save your life. I'm going to take 30 seconds to talk about thrusters. Binding thrusters to keyboard or momentary switches makes it so we have to tap fire to get that fine adjustment. Precision mode is great, but it's sometimes not great enough. Because of that, I have 2 sets of binds for the 6 thrusters, momentary and analog. The momentary ones are used constantly during dogfighting, and the analog ones I use just to land. The Star Citizen brand HOTAS might have proportional thruster control, which I feel is a great idea. I have full forward and back bound to the bottom red switch. I remind you now that you need to bind both for coupled and uncoupled independently. I have my grey rocker switch set to first person zoom. I'm constantly using this. The next switch I have is for flight mode selector and to call up the scoreboard. I'm super competitive and sad to say I always use this between waves. The thumb 5-way hat is landing mode. Down toggles the mode, forward will select the pad that's behind the aiming mark, and pull up for automatic to manual toggle. I use this flap trim for proportional control over the forward rearward thrusters. It's very useful for landing and you can easily reach it because there's no need to have your hands on the throttle when using it. It's not self-centering, but has a center hump. I set the dead zones a little bit wider so I don't get any unwanted drift. There's a small XY joystick on the front of this throttle. This is where I have my analog fine control over the rest of the thrusters. I don't have anything bound to this, but I'm sure you could use it for shield or power balance if you didn't have voice attack. The front red toggles the G-Safe. I hardly ever use it, but I want to improve my skill and be able to exploit some extra maneuvering with the ship when this is turned off. And finally, I have a delicious kill button in case I get stranded in the middle of nowhere. So in keeping with the true no bullshit style that you expect from my content, that's it. Pass this link to people who are just starting out, or even link this to your org mates so they can start a discussion. People think better together. Post up here if you have some cool binding ideas. If you got something out of this video and like this no bullshit approach, please subscribe for more in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.